In 1162, a boy was born on the Mongolian steppe with his fist clenched around a blood clot. A local shaman told his mother the child would one day conquer the world. By the time that boy died 65 years later, he had built the largest contiguous land empire in human history, 11 million square miles, an area the size of the entire African continent, more territory than the Romans conquered in 400 years, and he did it in 25. His name was Temujin. The world would know him as Genghis Khan. But the man who conquered more land than any human being before or since didn't start with an army. He started with nothing. When Temujin was 9 years old, a rival clan called the Tatars poisoned his father. Overnight, his family went from nobility to outcasts. His own tribe abandoned them on the steppe, leaving his mother to raise 7 children alone in the Mongolian wilderness, surviving on roots, fish, and whatever small animals they could catch. As a teenager, Temujin was captured and enslaved by a rival clan. He escaped. His young wife, Borte, was kidnapped by another tribe. He gathered enough allies to raid the camp and take her back. Every formative experience of his life was defined by betrayal, loss, and violence, and each one made him harder, more strategic, and more determined to ensure it never happened again. By his early 20s, he had begun building something no one on the steppe had managed before. Not just a tribal alliance, but a unified nation. He promoted men based on skill, not bloodline. He organized his warriors into units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000, regardless of which tribe they came from. He executed the leaders of enemy clans, but absorbed their people into his own ranks. He banned the kidnapping and selling of women. He outlawed the enslavement of Mongols, and he made livestock theft punishable by death. In 1206, at a grand assembly on the banks of the Onon River, the tribes declared him Genghis Khan, universal ruler. He was now in command of roughly 1 million people. But what came next would reshape the world. His first target was the Tangut Kingdom of Xixia in northwestern China, then the Jin dynasty in the north, which controlled Beijing. The Mongol army had no supply train, no siege equipment, no infantry, just cavalry, speed, and an almost supernatural ability to adapt. Mongol riders could cover 200 kilometers in a single day, faster than any army in the world at the time, faster even than the Pony Express would manage 600 years later. They ate dried meat and fermented mare's milk in the saddle. They could sleep on horseback. They fought with composite bows that could punch through armor at ranges other armies couldn't match. Beijing fell in 1215. Northern China was theirs. But the campaign that would define Genghis Khan's reputation came 4 years later, when the Shah of the Khwarezmian Empire in modern-day Uzbekistan made a catastrophic mistake. Genghis Khan had sent a trade caravan along the Silk Road as a gesture of diplomacy. The Shah's governor in the border city of Otrar seized the caravan and murdered the merchants. When Genghis sent ambassadors to demand an explanation, the Shah killed them too. What followed was annihilation on a scale the medieval world had never seen. Genghis Khan unleashed his full army against the Khwarezmian Empire. Bukhara, one of the greatest cities in Central Asia, fell. Then Samarkand. Then the capital, Urgench. Cities that had stood for centuries were leveled. The irrigation systems that sustained agriculture across the region were destroyed so completely that some areas never fully recovered. Historians estimate the death toll in the millions. We dig into stories like this every week. If that sounds good, subscribe. But Genghis Khan wasn't just a destroyer. And this is where the story gets complicated. Within the territory he conquered, he established something that had never existed before. A continental system of law, trade, and communication that connected China to Eastern Europe. He created the Yam, an international postal relay system where messengers on fresh horses could carry information across thousands of miles in days. He abolished torture. He granted religious freedom throughout his empire, welcoming Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, and anyone else willing to live under Mongol law. He established a regular census. He lowered taxes for merchants and eliminated them entirely for teachers, doctors, and religious leaders. The Silk Road, which had been fragmented and dangerous for centuries, became a unified free trade zone, under Mongol protection. It was said that a woman carrying a bag of gold could walk from one end of the empire to the other without fear. Genghis Khan died in August 1227 during a military campaign against the Xixia kingdom, which had refused to provide troops for his earlier wars. The exact cause of his death remains uncertain. Some accounts say he fell from his horse. Others suggest illness. His burial site has never been found. According to legend, his funeral escort killed anyone they encountered on the road so that no one could reveal the location of his grave. Soldiers reportedly diverted a river over the site to hide it permanently. After his death, his sons and grandsons kept expanding. His grandson Kublai Khan conquered the Song dynasty in southern China. Another grandson, Batu Khan, pushed into Eastern Europe, reaching the gates of Vienna. At its absolute peak, the Mongol Empire covered between 11 and 12 million contiguous square miles and held roughly a quarter of the world's population under its rule. But the empire couldn't hold. Genghis Khan had never solved the problem of succession. His descendants fought over the inheritance, splitting the empire into 4 separate khanates. Within a few generations, the Mongols in Persia had adopted Islam and blended into local culture. In China, they were overthrown by the Ming dynasty in 1368. The empire that reshaped the world dissolved in barely a century and a half. What remained was the legacy. Today, genetic studies estimate that roughly 16 million men alive carry Genghis Khan's Y chromosome. His conquests killed an estimated 40 million people, roughly 5% of the global population at the time, a number so large that some researchers believe it measurably changed the composition of the atmosphere by allowing forests to regrow on depopulated farmland. He built the largest empire the world had ever seen. He connected civilizations that had never heard of each other. He created systems of law and trade that would influence governance for centuries. And he did it all starting as a fatherless boy on the steppe, eating roots to survive. If you want to see how another empire rose and collapsed just as dramatically, that video is on screen now. Click it.